Previously on Daxplore. And coming up in today's video.
Minibar straight to the reception desk and they can exactly see which item you have taken out of your minibar. Today I'll be pulling back the curtain on one of the most polished and carefully controlled industries in the entire world, which is the hotel. They sell comfort, luxury and safety, and they like to sell the idea of a home away from home. But beneath that perfect surface is a world of shortcuts, behind the scene decisions, secret systems and upsell strategies, hidden risks and money-making schemes that most guests never even notice. And hotels prefer to keep it that way. If you ever wondered why the room that you booked online looks nothing like it does in real life, why some floors, well, sometimes smell slightly off, why free Wi-Fi is awfully slow, and why the staff sometimes give you a different answer depending on your attitude, even how hotels quietly earn thousands from small, unnoticed changes, then this video will explain everything you need to know. And trust me, you will be shocked by the outcome. So let's begin. First of all, welcome back to the channel. I'm Danny and this is Daxplore, and I'm very happy to have you here. When you look at hotel websites, everything seems perfect, right? Well, the room looks huge, bright and spotless, but behind the perfection is a very intentional marketing machine. Hotel hire photographers who specialize in making spaces look bigger than reality. They use wide lenses to stretch the room, they remove furniture to create open spaces, they change the lighting to hide imperfections. Sometimes they even recreate the room entirely to show the most flattering angle possible. Well, the beautiful ocean view you see many times, it's technically an ocean view, but in person, that view might be a slither of water visible only if you stand in exactly the right place on one of the corners of the balcony. Hotel photography is less about accuracy and more about aspiration. The goal isn't to show you what the room actually looks like. The goal is to convince you that this is the perfect room for your trip. This is why seasoned travelers never really rely on hotel photos. They go to guests' uploaded photos because those show reality. Worn carpets, scuffed headboards, lower ceilings, views that face the parking lot instead of paradise. If you want the truth, always check the photos from real guests. Cleanliness is one of the things that we assume is guaranteed, but hotel cleaning is a race against time. Most large hotels give housekeepers a maximum of 8 minutes per room. Think about that. In that time, they're expected to strip and replace bedding, clean the bathroom, sanitize surfaces, vacuum, restock towels, refill amenities, take out the rubbish, rearrange furniture, make the bed perfectly, and even inspect the entire room. It's an impossible list to complete thoroughly in such a short time. So what happens? Well, they tend to take some shortcuts. Not because staff don't care, most of them deeply do care, but because the schedule simply doesn't allow them to fulfill all of that in that time. Here are the things that are commonly rushed or sometimes skipped. The remote control, the telephones, light switches, coffee makers, hairdryer handles, bed runners and decorative pillows, and sometimes even the luggage racks. And then there's the duvet cover. Despite looking fresh, many hotels change duvet covers every 1 to 4 weeks. If it looks clean, it goes back on. And that is unfortunately standard in many hotels that aren't in the luxury tier. Well, bathrooms look spotless, but high and tough spots to reach, such as the shower handle, the faucet, or the top of the toilet tank, may not always get the same detailed attention as guests expect. And here is a trick that hotel staff rarely mention if you are squeamish. You can request fresh bedding and including duvet covers before you check in. Hotels will almost always honor your request if you do so in advance. So how is your room even assigned to you? Your room number may feel random, but the room assignment surely is not. It's a calculated system powered by hotel software and internal rules. So hotels do in fact rank their guests, depending on different factors such as their loyalty status, how you booked, price that you paid, historical behaviour, special notes on your file, your spending habits, length of your stay, whether you travel frequently, and whether you've caused issues before. If you wanted to get a really good deal on your hotel, then you may have booked through a third-party website. If you did book through a third-party website, discount sites especially, you often get lower priority. The bookings through third-party websites are less profitable for hotels, so they are more likely to put those guests in lower floors, rooms with weaker views, rooms near elevators or ice machines, older rooms, smaller rooms, and even rooms with quirks like noisy air conditioning units or some scuffs on the walls. Now, meanwhile, it may sound absurd, but guests who do book directly through the website of the hotel and who are polite, and guests who frequent the brand often get better results by default. The good news is you can actually override this by asking a friendly and confident request, such as, "Do you have a complimentary upgrade available today?" This does sometimes often lead to a better room, especially if the hotel isn't full. And trust me, from someone who has worked in a hotel myself, never underestimate the power of politeness in hospitality. Staff can't invent rooms, but they can choose which rooms to offer each person. So what about the dreaded minibar? Well, the minibar in your room is designed to make a profit for the hotel, not a convenience. And here is one of the big secrets concerning the minibar. If you haven't noticed this before, then you might have a clicking sound that you hear when you take an item out of your minibar. This means that there is a signal transferred from the minibar straight to the reception desk, and they can exactly see which item you have taken out of your minibar. They will receive a signal saying that, let's say, the orange juice was taken out of your room, and that orange juice will be on your bill when you check out, even if you put it back. So these sensors detect movement, not consumption. Pick it up for more than a couple of seconds, or even shift the items around, and the system automatically logs a charge. Some guests will not realize this until they check out, and some guests will even just pay the bill without questioning the charge. As I'm sure you have noticed before if you've stayed in a hotel, the prices for a minibar item are marked up ridiculously. A bottle of water that may cost £1 in a shop may be £7 in a minibar. So my little tip for you, if you want to avoid the minibar charges, simply ask the hotel staff when you check in to empty the minibar upon your arrival, and they will be happy to assist. This way, it's also a good option for you to store your own drinks or food in the minibar fridge, because you will have space and you won't risk that click when you move items around in your minibar. So you may have tried to book a hotel, or have even gone to a hotel and book up front, and they've said, "I'm very sorry, but we're fully booked today." But the truth of the matter is, hotels are often not fully booked, even if they say so. Hotels do tend to hold some rooms available for special guests for special occasions, such as VIP guests, corporate accounts, maintenance issues if there's a room that needs maintenance, last-minute emergencies, staff restroom requests, and highly paying walk-ins. So the phrase, "we are fully booked," often just means, "I'm sorry, but we are fully booked for the category that you want to buy," or "we're holding a room for someone who would like to pay a little bit more." So let's move on to additional perks such as the hotel Wi-Fi. If hotels do have Wi-Fi, some of them still don't, and I think that's incredibly amazing that some hotels still do not offer Wi-Fi, especially for an upcharge. If you do have Wi-Fi available in your hotel, then it's often incredibly slow. And yes, this is all a tactic from the hotel as well. They do tend to throttle the hotel Wi-Fi to get you to pay that premium Wi-Fi access. So the premium Wi-Fi that you are able to purchase in a hotel is just often the regular Wi-Fi that you would expect. This is also a hidden upsell strategy that a lot of guests unfortunately don't realize. So how can I overcome this hotel Wi-Fi issue? Well, some hotels, especially the big brands, offer a loyalty program. So if you join their loyalty program, then you tend to get free Wi-Fi with just joining. So that's a good way to get around the Wi-Fi issue. You can also, if you're very clever, ask at the reception when checking in if they have a hotel room available near a Wi-Fi access point, typically near the lifts, elevators, or in the center of hallways. And it's always good to notice that corner rooms often have the worst signal. So have you ever booked a room in a hotel and they ask you to fill out a long form before you check in? And you've asked the question, well, what does the hotel actually know about me? Well, when you check in, the front desk sees information about you and it's more than you actually think. So most hotels will actually create a guest profile. This consists of your previous stays, the past complaints that you may have issued in the past, notes about your attitude, your tipping habits, and what amenities you do or do not use. Most hotels will also make a note whether you frequently request compensation, if you're a loyalty member, your average spending, and whether you travel for business or for leisure. So why do the hotels make these notes? Remember me saying earlier on that politeness is key in the hotel industry? Well, a friendly guest will often get a better room option, more flexibility, extra amenities, and early check-in or sometimes even late checkout. So with safety and security becoming an even more important concern nowadays around the world, how safe is the hotel really that I am staying in? Well, hotels do promote safety and security heavily. However, there are some behind the scenes realities worth knowing. You may have heard the term master key. Well, yes, they do actually in fact exist. Master keys are room keys that open every single door to every single room in the hotel. This is used often by staff for cleaning or emergencies to access the room when it is locked to fulfill your requests. Hotel room safes, however, are not as secure as they seem. They have, in fact, universal override codes, and these are meant for emergencies, but also mean your safe is not impenetrable. If you have something valuable such as jewelry, large sums of cash, or very important documents, ask the front desk to store it in their own safe, which requires logging and management approval. One thing that I can stress if you are a guest in a hotel is to never announce your room number out loud. If the front desk do say it loudly when you check in, then politely request another room. It's a rule for a reason. Some hotel rooms have a deadbolt and a security latch on the front door, and I advise you very strongly to use them. Even if there is a master key, then these can buy you time and prevent unauthorized entry. Another point that you probably have never considered in the past is which floor your room is situated on. And I strongly recommend that if you do have a choice, then make sure that you receive a room not too high but also not too low. Try to go for a middle floor, which means that you have enough security on a higher floor, however you are low enough for emergency access if need be. Travel safety is about awareness and not fear. However, awareness is key. I'm sure you've done it, we've all done it before, when you open your suitcase in your hotel room when you first arrive and you realize that you've forgotten some amenities. Well, the hotel does in fact have a lot more free stuff than they initially advertise. This also obviously depends on the brand of the hotel and the hotel you are staying at and the category of the hotel. However, you can usually request toothbrushes, toothpaste, maybe a hairbrush, some sewing kits, and other things like slippers and bathrobes. Some higher end hotels will also offer some makeup wipes, maybe some supplies such as air purifiers, humidifiers, and sometimes even yoga mats. There is a reason why the hotel does not advertise these items, and that is very simple. If everyone did ask for these items, then it would cost them a lot more time and money. But if you do ask them politely, then most of the time they will definitely say yes. So what are my insider tips for a better hotel experience? Well, now that you know most of the hidden secrets of the hotel, here are some powerful tips to improve your stay. Directly book through the hotel website with the hotel directly. You will get better rooms and often better perks. Ask for a corner room. They are often quieter and sometimes larger, giving you more light, as they do tend to have windows on either side. Even though you do have an assigned check-in time, make sure you arrive earlier, because arriving earlier sometimes means that rooms will become available and an upgrade opportunity is often available too. Try to leave the housekeeping staff a little tip if you can. Obviously this is not a must, but if you do, the service will be slightly better. Do a quick safety sweep when you enter the room, check the peepholes, the locks under the bed and the bathroom. Additionally, if you wish, add a request for a late checkout upon arrival, because if you do wait until the next day when you've already arrived, then the hotel has most probably assigned your room to the next person already. I also strongly advise that if you have an issue with your stay or if something wasn't up to standard, then do make sure that you report it early. Hotels tend to be far more generous with your compensation during your stay than if you wait until after you've checked out. And the final thing that I stress that you do is when you check out and you receive that final bill, always inspect the bill thoroughly. Make sure that there are no hidden charges on that bill and make sure that they are removed if so. So, for having worked in the hotel profession for many years myself, I can say that hotels are fascinating. They're always polished on the outside, but behind the scenes there is an intricate system of marketing, efficiency, psychology, safety, and above all, profit. A system that is designed to appear seamless, however, one that depends heavily on guests not noticing the details. But you are also now a hotel expert, you also know the details and things to look out for before you book and things to consider during your stay. You know how to get better rooms, you know how to avoid hidden fees, you know how cleaning really works, you know how the Wi-Fi tricks work, you know exactly what the front desk sees behind their screen and your profile, and you know exactly how to travel safer and smarter. So I hope you enjoyed this little insider tour of what really goes on behind the scenes of hotels around the world. Having worked in a hotel myself for a number of years, I can confirm that this is exactly true. Obviously, some information and aspects that I have mentioned does depend on the tier of hotel you book, it depends on the brand, and it obviously depends on the country as well. However, behind the scenes in hotels, it really is not all that it seems. So make sure that you do consider those insider facts that I have mentioned, and you will have a more pleasant stay the next time you book your hotel. So that is in fact all for today's video, my friends. Thank you once again for stopping by. We really do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then do leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you next time at Daxplore. Thank you and goodbye for now.